What's up guys, NepentheZ here and welcome back to another episode of The Road to Glory. Today's episode's got a lot of good comments, probably not going to get through them all again. If you could drop a thumbs up on the video though, it would be very much appreciated. I want to talk a little bit about, it's quite a long episode today, so hopefully I've got enough time. I want to talk a little bit about today about team rating, encompassing bronze benching, ELOs, matchmakings, ranking systems, all that sort of stuff. But first of all, I've been bitching a lot this weekend, which is really out of character for me. Like I moan a little bit when I lose games, when I feel frustrated. But this weekend I've had a heavy chip on my shoulder, and you're going to see some more of that right at the end of this video when we go into a live section where I'm just bitching a little bit. The way the last 3 weekend leagues have gone for me. Even though I've got elite in 2 of them, I don't think I'm going to get elite this weekend, but even though I've got elite in 2 of them, they've just gone wrong for reasons out of my control that were actually in my control, but were out of my control. Like my internet service provider has been one of the biggest issues for me losing games over the last few weeks. 2 weekend leagues ago, I got 3 disconnects and about 3 or 4 games with speed up lag. Last weekend, I got 2 disconnects and a few games with speed up lag. And this weekend league, I got 1 game with speed up lag because now I've taken the preventative measures to stop myself getting speed up lag when I play. And I got 1 disconnect loss, which was down to EA. Like everyone got disconnected at the same time, and just the accumulation of all that has just, it's wound me up to the point where I'm playing with a chip on my shoulder. I'm not playing good FIFA. You know, I know when I'm playing good and I know when I'm playing bad. And you know, a few weekend leagues ago where I finished with 32 wins with 3 disconnects. I was playing really good FIFA that weekend. This weekend league, I'm playing bad. I'm getting salty. I'm using passive aggressiveness to message my opponents when they're messaging me with like just nonsense, just nonsense. I'm acting like an absolute spoiled child, and it's not a quality that I enjoy in myself. So I've got 10 more games to play yet. I'm recording this video 3 o'clock on Monday. I haven't finished my weekend league yet because honestly, I'm just not looking forward to playing the last 10 games because I'm so fed up with this game this weekend. I said at the start of the weekend, interestingly, that I think I'm just going to go to Gold 1 this weekend and see where I'm at, and then potentially look to move on to elite, the elite rankings. And that was going to be by design, but it seems like by natural progression, I'm probably only going to finish Gold 1 this weekend anyway. By the end of these games here, I am 20 wins and 10 losses, which is the worst I've been at this stage in many weeks. You know, even when I was going through that stuff with the court case and things, I think I was still doing better than this, you know. Likely I'm going to finish with 27 or 28 wins. The way it's been going this weekend, where I've got like 6 and 4 as a win-loss in every 10 games, 26 or 27 would probably be a more reasonable outlook. But I'm not out of it. I'm not saying that I'm not going to get 29 wins. But I think at this stage it is very unlikely I'm going to get 29 wins. So if I can get to Gold 1 with still 5 wins remaining, basically if I can win the next 5 on the bounce and go to 25 and 10, I will play out all the games or until I can't get Elite 3 anymore. But if I lose basically the 1 game that I have in the bank to still get to Elite within the next 5 games, I'm just going to stop at Gold 1. And not put myself through the stress of having to play the final games. So, a lot of talk recently about ELO, about matchmaking. And the reason why I talk about that is because in this video specifically, you'll see me come up against Ronster around the middle of the gameplay section. And Ronster beat me 2-1. He had a really good team and he was a really good player. You know, his goal to win the game was utter cheese. But those are the types of things in tight games that that get you the wins. At times is when, you know, does the cheese go for you or against you in a tight game? And Ronster picked himself up a win against me. He tweeted me afterwards saying good game. And again, I was salty towards him. And Ronster, if you're watching this video, if anyone knows, you know, that you know is watching this video, can pass the message on. I apologise for being a dick, dude. Like, you know, I gave you a bit of a, not a backhanded message per se, but I said GG, but like you was gifted the Suarez goal, and you was gifted the Suarez goal to be fair, but like my message came with an air of spite, and as I say, I don't like that about myself, and I apologise for that. It's just not a nice trait to have. Ronster messaged me after the game, and asked me what my record was, and I told him at the time I believe I was 15-8, and his loss put me at 15-9. I believe that to be the case. I could be wrong. I might have been 15-7 and had gone to 15-8. Ronster was 35-4, and then changed obviously to 36-4, and that was his final game. So I was bemused, like genuinely confused, how a guy with 35 wins and 4 losses was matching up against me with 15 wins and 7 or 8 losses. I was like, how? It got even worse when in the last game of today's episode, we come up against a guy who we lost 3-2 to. And again, both these losses were narrow losses to decent opponents. The guy that I lost to at the end here, I actually didn't think he was a very good player. He messaged me after the game saying good game and stuff, and again I was a dick to him again for no good reason. Not an actual dick, like I wasn't wishing him death and stuff like your typical Xbox messages. But he said good game, and I said this wasn't a good game. Just being a dick. I was just being a dick. Okay, we'll leave it there. I was being a dick. I'm sorry. I regret it. I shouldn't be a dick to people through messages, because bottom line is, before I get on with this story, when you're playing your game and your opponent scores a cheese goal or gets an undeserved win, they don't know who you are, and they're not doing it to spite you. They're doing the best they can for them. They're not like, oh, let me try and score a cheese goal so that I can piss this dude off. They play their natural game, and if the luck goes their way, it goes their way. But the last dude I ended up losing 3-2 against, I got a red card because I was sliding. I was just rage sliding. I was just in an absolute foul mood. And he messaged me afterwards, and as I say, I gave him a bit of back and forth we had, and I was like, he asked me how my weekend league was going, and I told him like I think I was 20-9 when I played against him, because I finished 20-10. He was 22-1. So although in one instance against Ronster, we had a very similar amount of losses in the grand scheme of things. He had 4, I had 7 or 8, but he had 35 wins and I had 15. Like that's not fair. And then against the other dude, we had a similar amount of wins, but our losses were far, far unequal. I don't understand how I could come up against a guy in one instance that was 35-4 and in another instance that was 22-1 when I was in far, far inferior circumstances. So I started tweeting about it, and I was tweeting about it at this stage more out of general curiosity than out of any kind of malice or spite. I'm genuinely interested in the matchmaking system and how and why it works. I got some information for you guys. First of all, the Glico system, which I thought is what EA used for matchmaking, isn't what they use for matchmaking. They use that to ascertain skill points to people, which is how they differentiate the people on the same wins. They don't use that to matchmake people. A lot of people think the matchmaking is random. I've got it on very good authority that the matchmaking is categorically not random. In fact, the wise words were, like with the guy who did analysis on seasons matches, it's something you could, in theory, get pretty close to working out. This source, not to be burned nor named, also said, currently the decision is to not detail matchmaking any further than it is being based on success. What I can say is that you're way off with your claims though. It's not random. I actually wasn't under the impression it was random. I was just discussing the wrongfulness of random matchmaking. And this is the game against Ronster as well here on the screen, guys. So it has been described by my competent source at EA that it is based. They won't give any more details other than it is based on success. But also there is a guy who did analysis on seasons that based on what he did, you can get pretty close to working out how the matchmaking's done. So that got me thinking. And it got me researching, and I went and found what I think is the thread that this source was referencing on Reddit, and I read the thread, and it posed some very interesting discussion, some intriguing topics, some intriguing thought process that in turn comes with its inaccuracies and illogical facts, basically, like some just illogical nonsense, essentially. But if it is based on success, or if success is a factor, according to this EA person, then how again am I 20 and 9 coming up against 22 and 1, and then 15 and 7 or 15 and 8 coming up against 34 and 5? How is that a fair, success-based matchmaking system? I don't know. What I discovered was a thread from 8 months ago on the Reddit, on the Reddit forums, that basically showed that team rating has an impact in not necessarily matchmaking, but skill points earned at the end of a match. It was done in head-to-heads, and basically, like a 4.5-star team would gain less points for beating a 5-star team. Or like I read it interestingly, right? I basically developed a theory, which is a working theory and will require extensive testing from all different angles: high-rated teams, low-rated teams, bronze benching, gold benching, everything, right? But it gets to the point where my theory concludes at the point where I think that the lower rated team you have generates less points earned for a win than a higher rated team. This weekend league, I had a high rated team, a 189. So if my theory is correct, and we'll start breaking down the theory in a second. If my theory is correct, and that because I have a higher rated team, when I gain wins, I gain more points that send me into matchmaking than if I had a lower rated team, it would give a big explanation as to why with only 15 wins, I gained enough points to match up against someone with 35 wins. Now again, let's not get confused. What I'm going to talk about skill points, but I don't mean skill points that you see on a top 100 leaderboards. Those are entirely irrelevant and are literally only used to separate people on the same number of wins. They are not inclusive in matchmaking. So bear that in mind when we talk about this. So assume I start with 1,000 points, right? And what you get for playing games, how you achieve points, is based on the results and the situations within games. And I take on board the coin rewards at the end of games. The way I earn coins, if we played against each other, if you and I played against each other, the way I earn coins is irrelevant to how you earn coins. I have my own multipliers based on the things that I do within the game. Yeah, there's a grand circle that we both fit in, but you earning more coins doesn't inherently make me earn less coins. It does in a sense because, goals conceded reduces coins, shots reduces coins, but ultimately I am in control of how I earn a lot of coins. And then at the end of that, you have a multiplier number, which is the DNF, the did not finish multiplier, which in itself is just a bit of a broken thing in the game. It's not representative, in my opinion, of how things should work. Like, if somebody rage quits against you, you actually lose DNF rather than gain it. Like, it's stupid. Anyway, you might earn 1,200 coins, but if your DNF multiplier is 0.5, you lose half of that straight away. So you're going down to 600 coins, right? So I earn 600 coins, and you might earn 670 coins. They are entirely separate entities and not reflective of each other than on the basis of the more goals I score, the more coins I earn, but also you will earn less coins because of the goals that I've scored. So I thought about applying this logic to skill points and how they're earned, because when I say if you get a lower rated team, you come up against a guy with any team but a fair skill matchmaking, and it should theoretically be easier for you to win. A lot of people point out that if you then easily beat a high rated team, because the high rated team in the way matchmaking would work would theoretically be the team that should win, you will actually gain more points for beating a higher rated team than less points. And I take on board that kind of outlook and that logic, and it makes sense. It's how any ELO system works. If you're in League of Legends and you get put onto a team with some high ELO players and you beat a team with really high ELO players, you will gain more points than if you beat a team with lower ELO players, where you will gain less points for that win. Alright? So that's a fair assumption to make, that if I come up against a guy with a higher rated team and team rating has an influence, I will gain more points for beating that higher rated team, thus boosting me quicker and actually making it more difficult. However, if we go back to the coin multiplier, what if there is a situation at hand where it's not about your team rating, but my team rating. So assume, let me get the thread on Reddit real quick, because I had a pretty good post that kind of explained what I mean here. So assume we start with 1,000 points in the weekend league. So I've got 1,000 points with a 178 team. You've got 1,000 points, and your team rating just doesn't matter to me. It has no influence on how I generate points. The only thing that influences us matching up at that given time is the actual number of skill points that we have. So I've got 1,000 and you've got 1,000. Okay, we match up. Now, because I've got a one, let's say again, like the coin stuff, the way you actually gain points that go towards your ranking system is the same as what happens in coins. So wins give you points, shots on target give you points, shots give you points, pass accuracy gives you points, goals scored give you points, goals suffered and shots suffered on, they deduct points from you. And then at the end of that, once you get your core group of points, your team rating is acting as a multiplier for those points. So it doesn't matter what your team rating is, it matters what my team rating is. And why this might be important is because if I gained, and the example I've used, I've got it so that I gained 106 points at the end of everything, right? So after a win, some shots, some goals, some possession, a man of the match, I've gained 106 points. If your team rating is used as a multiplier, and in the same manner that the DNF coin multiplier works, let's assume, and this is just an assumption, and this is why it will take extensive testing and is a very important thing to kind of exhaust, basically. Let's assume I've got a 178 rated team, and my 106 points is now divided by 0.78 because my team rating is 78. I will then come away with 83 skill points out of that game. So I will now have 1,083 skill points. If, however, I had a 188 team, it would be timed by 0.88, that same 106 points. So now I would have I would gain 93 skill points instead of 83 skill points. So now I would have 1,093 skill points. So although you know, I would play against the same person initially, my team rating as a separate entity to my opponent's team rating might be a multiplying factor that ultimately allows me to generate less skill points at a time, which in turn could be a reason why bronze benching is somewhat I don't believe in handicap, but some people might think that bronze benching works because they face consistently lesser players over a longer period of time because they're picking up less and less skill points for each win. Whereas me using my 188 team, or in this instance my 189 team, if I pick up a big win, like a big 4-0 or 5-0 win, I might give myself 200 skill points extra. Whereas if I actually had a 180 team, I might have only given myself 120 skill points extra. So the next opponent that I face are on entirely different levels, even though the person that I just beat was the same person regardless of my team. Now, do I think that this is exactly how it works? Possibly not. Do I think that this is a logical way to make things work? Absolutely not. But do I think that it could potentially be this way in the game? Yes. And by the way, there's a little clip here, a long clip, of me searching for games. It would not give me a 4 or 5 bar game. I always have, usually my games are 5 bar and the odd bouncing to 4 bar. But for a long period of time, I could not get more than a 2 bar or 3 bar. I reset my internet, I reset my console, I kept backing in and out of FUT, and it just kept giving me 2 bars and 3 bars. So again, that may be a reason as to why I'm not as competent player this weekend league. But I hope you guys understand this, right? Because then, once you gain those extra skill points from that game, if you do have a 180 team and you match up against someone with the same skill points as you, and the 180 team gives you 100 points, but a 190 team gives you 150 points, your next game now, even though you're the same player, you're now going to be potentially coming up against a more difficult opponent off of the back of the fact that you had a higher rated team when you won. Which is not right and not fair. And I'm not even saying that's how it works. This is just a theory about how it might work. But it would go some way to encouraging why pro players believe that bronze benching is an effective thing to do, because even though it's not for the reason that they thought it was effective, it could actually have been effective. There are of course going to be some anomalies. People are going to lose to low rated teams. People are going to lose to high rated teams. There are going to be some people that have a high rated team that win all the games regardless. And I think Vitaly Rocky with a 188 team, got 159 wins out of 160 games last month, and that one loss was a disconnect loss. But then then there is something to be said for true skill. Now, when you have the true skill of someone like Vitality Rocky, sorry, it does, as long as you're not coming up against the other elitist pro players, the huge gorillas, the dragons, the poachers, the Gigsies, the Aman Siddiquis, as long as you're not facing these dudes, you're in such a finite pool of skilled players that even people that get 38 wins in a week or 37 wins in a week are nowhere near the level that you are. So even if you've got the super high skill rating because you've used the super high rated team, that person that also has a super high skill rating is just not on your level in terms of true skill. I know this is going to be a confusing situation for people to understand. I hope I've got myself across as clear and concise as possible. And in terms of true skill, like falsifying your ELO points is not a long-term successful future. It will be short-term based where you'll get more wins than you should do if my theory is correct. Like I say, my theory could be wrong to the point where actually bronze benching, because your team rating's so low rated, you come up against higher team ratings, so when you beat those teams, you actually gain more ELO points and you immediately put yourself up against a more difficult opponent. I see that, and that makes far more logical sense. But if that's the case, I don't understand what my success is, according to my source at EA, that there is a system that's there is a matchmaking system in the game, and there is a theory to working it out. And it's based on success. That's all we know so far. All we know is it is based on success. So if it is based on success, and my proposed theory is incorrect, and the theory of higher rated teams actually offer a better yield because when you lose so many more ELO points, and when you win, you don't gain as many. How on earth did I come up against the 35-4 guy and this guy right here, the 22-1 guy? How did I match up against them? I don't know. Definitely up for some discussion on this one, guys. I'm not for 1 second suggesting that my theory is correct or even accurate in the slightest, but based on the information that I have at hand and the research that I've done, it's the closest thing that I can get to a logical working theory as possible. Even if the theory in itself is illogical, it's the closest thing that I can get that makes sense for why I've come up against the players that I've come up against, and why bronze benching and could potentially be a thing that makes you get easier opponents. Of course, on the back of that, if everyone bronze benches, everyone's going to be in the same boat, and then true skill will eventually prevail, right? And ultimately, what EA would want is true skill. But there you go. That's my thought on the matter. I've got some brilliant topics to discuss, but I have a feeling for the next couple of episodes I might be just talking to you guys about your comments and stuff with this. So let me know in the comment section below, guys, how you feel, what you think, and your experiences with it. And I'm more than happy to openly discuss this with you guys over the next few episodes. But there you go, guys. That is the end of the gameplay for today. We are 20-10 after 30 games. Let's go live. So guys, we're 20 wins and 10 losses after 30 games. Honestly, I've got no desire to play this game this weekend. The servers have just been horrendous. They've extended it by a day because of so. I'll show, if I remember, because I probably won't, but now that I'm saying this, I'll try my best to. I can't get a 4 or 5 bar connection. I just can't do it. I'm getting either 2 bar or 3 bar connections. I've tried resetting my internet, tried playing at different times during the day. I've tried restarting FIFA, restarting my console. Nothing I do will give me a 4 or 5 bar connection. It's just constant 3 bars. You'll see, actually, I'll put a clip in of about a minute and a half of me searching for games and just coming up against 2 bar, 3 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar. And although to some people it just sounds like an excuse, it plays a big difference in the game. As I say, I'm 20-10. I think I had no desire to play this week anyway for some reason. I said to you guys I was only going to go for gold 1, and it turns out I'm probably only going to get gold 1 by natural attrition, not even by trying to. I'm likely going to finish on 26 or 27 wins. I could get 9 wins out of my last 10 games, but again, it comes back to that point where that disconnect way back in game number 10 it's just thrown me. You know what I mean? It's just ruined anything and everything. I've switched back to one team as well. I decided that Ibrahimovic is just too good to not have in all the time. So I'm going to be using Suarez, I think, going forwards as a sub. I'm tempted to sell Messi and Ronaldo and see what I've got left after that and see what I can buy. The team's decent. I think I won 6 of the 10 games here, but every game that I lost as well, excuse me, I lost by just 1 goal. You know, I think every game I've lost this weekend, actually, I've lost by just 1 goal. And so, again, it's such a situation where I'm so close to just having a phenomenal 35, 36, 37 weekend, but I just can't get there. Interestingly as well, when I was 15-7, I came up against a guy who was 35-4. I don't know how I'm matching up against that. And then I came up against that dude with a Legends team, Petite and stuff. His name's Kurtley. He beat me last weekend in a game that I felt like I deserved to win. And I beat him this weekend in a game I felt like I deserved to win as well. I dominated possession, chances and everything. And then he started sending me like abusive messages afterwards and stuff, which I found hilarious. But it's weird how I'm coming up against the same sort of people all the time. But okay, let me see if I can find that dude. As I say, he got 36 wins. It's 36. Yeah, he's in the top 100. I'll show you who it is that I played against. Where do we go? 35 and then 36. So I came up against this guy here, Ronster. So Ronster beat me 2-1. As I say, I think I took the lead as well. He scored a goal as well with Suarez. It was just so undeserved. And a lot of stuff's going wrong in this weekend league. Everyone that I know is having one of the worst weekends of their life. Bateson only got 32 wins. I'm not sure what Marshall's doing. Nick, I think, only finished on 21 wins. So a lot of people are having a lot of tough times. And I'm no different to that. And I don't know if it's a mix of bad gameplay, bad servers, and me playing bad, if I just can't be bothered, or if I'm just taking it so lackadaisical because of the fact there's an extra day. I don't really know how to handle it. But yeah, I'm just tired of FUT Champs. I'm tired of having to give up my whole weekend for this high pressure, high stress situation to get garbage rewards week in, week out. And don't get me wrong, the reward structure itself, the reward is like, you know, 100k pack, a team of the week pack, that's a good reward, but I get nothing in them. There's not a lot right now that can advance this series. Because I've got Ronaldo, I've got Messi, I've got Suarez. I mean, look at the team that I've got. I've got a team that I'm more than happy playing with. And the difference really is how badly do I want the coins and the rewards. And the honest truth is, not as badly to go through this kind of stress and pressure the whole weekend. I've tried to keep my cool this weekend. I did get angry in one of the games. I lost one of the games to a guy who was just utter, like, I say this a lot and people get mad when I say this, but the guy wasn't on my level. I know what kind of level I play FIFA at. I know when I come up against a difficult opponent. I know when I come up against an opponent that's better than me. And I know when I come up against an opponent who's so bad, I wonder how they get in weekend league. And when you lose those type of games, it's just brutal. And I lost one of those games here today. And I know, as per usual, it's on me. It's my job to put the ball in the back of the net. And if I can't do it, then that's me playing badly that specific game. It carries on going towards that frustrating factor. You know, I haven't had a weekend league in a while where I've come away thinking, yep, I got what I deserved that weekend. You know, a few weekends I get what I deserve. Most weekends I get what I deserve. But recently, the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, I come away feeling aggrieved, and it all comes down from these disconnects. And I know some of that problem is my problem because I have 2 internet service providers. I have BT Business and TalkTalk Business. Because I live in a relatively remote area, so the speeds aren't good enough. So I have 2, so that I can put my console on one internet line and my computer on another internet line, so I can upload videos whilst I play FIFA, because otherwise I would get like mad lag in FIFA. So I play FIFA on the TalkTalk line, and the only thing that's plugged into that line is my console. Nothing else, just my console. And it still throttles me at 5:30 PM every day until 10 PM every day, even though I have a business priority line. So again, it's so frustrating that TalkTalk were the reason last weekend and the weekend before why I got that speed up lag in so many games and disconnects in games. And they're the reason why I got the speed up lag in the game that I lost this weekend as well. And it's so demotivating. Like I'm close enough to getting elite already for the month after just 2 weeks that I can afford to just not care, I think, this month. And, you know, I think I might not care. What do we need? We need 120 wins for the month, and I've already got 49. So you need 25 on average per week. So I only need one more win this week to get my average of 25 per week. So I could, you know, if I get six wins out of this, I'm well ahead of the target to get elite. And I you know, as sad as it is, because I think Foot Champs is great. I'm just over the stress. Like I'm past the point of being excited to play Foot Champs every weekend, and it's now at that point where it feels like it's a chore to play Foot Champs every weekend. I enjoy this team and I enjoy playing FIFA and I enjoy competitive FIFA. What I don't enjoy is playing in like a laggy gameplay, and I know it's like a lot of people are going to say this is super hypocritical of me, because I personally believe there is no handicap, no scripting and no momentum. I don't believe it's in the game. But I am of the belief that when the servers are bad or overburdened or laggy like they have been this weekend, it impacts how certain players play and it benefits other players. And the way I play, which is a lot of left trigger, right trigger dribble, a lot of passing, it requires the response time between me pressing a button and the action happening on the screen. It requires it to be sharp. So when it's even like a half a second out, it just changes everything. And again, I know that's an excuse, and I know everyone's having to deal with that weekend. I'm not the only, this weekend, I'm not the only person that has to deal with that. But again, it just goes towards me sitting there thinking, I can't be bothered. I'm more than happy to just play to gold 1 every week, get the rewards of gold 1, and just be done with it. I've got, you know, if I sell Messi and Ronaldo, I've got what, maybe 2 million coins, 1.5 for Ronaldo, 700k for Messi. I've literally got 2.2 million coins just sat there in Messi and Ronaldo, which is great. I've got another like 5, 6, 700k's worth in the club, and I could potentially go and sell Messi and Ronaldo and get blue Messi. Let's have a look. What would we get? How much is blue Messi? Or I might go and get that Neymar, for example. Team of the year Messi, 3 million, 2 million. So I could get his team of the group stage. It's 3 million for his, or 2.9 million for his team of the year. I'm tempted to just go on and get that team of the year and play him on 4 chemistry, because even on 4 chem in a 100 chem team, he still gets those, you know, like incredible stats. It doesn't make a difference. And then just play my team as normal and play Messi up there at right forward. Or maybe just bring him on as a sub. Actually, that'd be better, because he'd get like 6.25 chemistry then, which would just be a marginally better. Or try and find you know, a way to fit him into the team. But I could go and get that blue Messi. He would be a lot of fun to play with. I'm sure he might, you know, be a good investment perhaps. But to get that, I've got 100,000 coins in the bank. I could sell Messi and Ronaldo for 2.2, so that makes me to 2.3. I could get rid of Azpilicueta and put Smalling back in, so that would be like 2.4, and so I'd be about 500,000 coins off the mark. And if I sold all of these ones to watch dudes, we've got about 100, 150, 200, the Infor, maybe 300, all of these dudes, maybe 500. Yeah, I mean, I might be close. I could definitely do it. I could definitely be able to get myself that blue Messi. And then what I'd do is I'd play Hazard here. I probably would start with Anthony Martial or just any right forward or whatever, and then bring Messi on as a sub straight away. But I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Definitely, you know, alternatively I could play Suarez at striker, Messi at right forwards, play 8 chem, 10 chem, and then Hazard, and just put Costa in the midfield like that and play like this. And then sub on Ibra. But the whole point of going back to the one team was because, in my opinion, Ibra is just too good to not have in the team. He's just absolutely clinical. But I'll decide over the next few days. I'll decide if I want to go and get that blue Messi or not. But for now, guys, this is going to be the end of the video. Apologies for it being a bit of a downer right now. I'm just feeling very. I'm not depressed at losing the game. I'm just feeling like tired. I'm just tired of losing games in stressful situations where I feel like I'm the better player and I feel like I should win. And I know, I'll say it 100 times before people actually listen and don't take things what I say out of context. I know it's on me to do different things within the game to grind out the wins of the games that I should be winning. But when you've got such a limited amount of time and so much to do, it's hard to just be like, oh yeah, let me just go and take 2-hour break or 3-hour break. I don't have those luxuries, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm just feeling a bit tired of it, really. Just feeling a bit tired of it. But anyway, this is going to be the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.